We're going to talk about a little bit more about business continuity management and business continuity management planning. So as an introduction, we all know it's understood there's threat and exposures are many. More than ever, you've heard it this morning, and we're reiterating that it's more important now than ever to be prepared for this. And it's time for organizations. When was the last time you actually went out and looked at what type of plan you have? As we know, disaster and operational disruptions are going to continue to happen. On here, the only two that we don't have to worry too much about are hurricanes and earthquakes. Why is this thing going automatically? What'd you do to me? You guys have me on auto paying here. It's like, well, we're trying to hurry up, right, Brian? We're trying to get through this as quick as we can, so I'll move quickly. But the disruptions that are out there are not only events and disasters, obviously. It is some of the things we talked about earlier this morning, and it can be a broken pipe. It can be bad weather along the Front Range, and how is that going to affect your business, specifically as a small business owner, and how quickly can you recover? So when we talk about continuity plans is who's in charge during a crisis, and what if they're not available? What are you going to do to ensure employee safety? Because that's always going to have to be first and foremost depending on the event. How do you notify and mobilize your event teams? And then how do you monitor that? And it's still going on its own. So we're zipping. Okay, a good disaster recovery plan is going to have ease to use. It's going to be fully integrated. It's going to be web-based, right? So you're looking at a planning tool, you want it to be web-based. You want it to be complete so that it functions across your entire, not just your IT, but also your HR, your manufacturing, and your shipping. It should be centralized to make it easy so it's accessible by everybody. And we are zipping. There we go. It must have been. No, I don't think it's. No, it must have been the PowerPoint presentation that they sent me must have had a timer in it. So, yeah, just fix it real quick. Just get it off of there. Anyway, so now that I can catch my breath, yeah, there we go. Just hit manually. Thank you. And you can just start from that.
So now we start from the beginning, right?
No, this is good right here. So yeah, we don't want to start completely over. So when we talk about it, like I said, when we talk about ease of use and talking about your planning tool, there's a lot of tools out there, and we're going to talk a little bit up here. We talked about it the other day about the difference between pay for and free. And you've already heard a little bit about what free can mean to you when you go on free Wi-Fi. We'll talk about that also in the case of software and applications, because there's a lot out there, yet how secure are they? So when we talk about a good tool, you want it to be easy to use. You want it to be easy to change, easy to make updates. One example I like to give is I had a group I was working with. They put everything out there in PDF format, which is great. But the issue with PDF format is that it's very difficult to change PDF files and update PDF files, whereas it's a lot easier to update and change Excel files and Word documents, right? So when you're putting a plan together, your basis of your plan should be in a software program that is easy to use for yourself, easy to make changes to. Now, if you want to put out information out there to your employees and so forth, and you don't want them to be able to make changes to it, sure, save it in a format that's unchangeable, but make sure that you make it easy on yourself. Make sure it's fully integrated, and what I mean by that is you want a tool that allows you to do everything, allows you to collaborate. You don't want to be trying to mesh 4 or 5 tools together. So the ability to collaborate, plan, test, manage, execute when needed, and then after that execution, get the feedback. And we heard a lot about that this morning on the communications side, getting feedback and then being able to tweak your plan. Make sure it's web-based. The last thing you want to do is show up at your facility and the facility's on fire, and you're standing out in the parking lot saying, oh my God, my plan's inside there. It's on my computer, on my desktop, or it's in a 3-ring binder behind my desk. So you want to make sure that the plan is out there so it's easy to manage and easy to get to. Completeness, what I mean by that is functionality supports the entire plan. So you want to make sure that it not only incorporates your IT department, but your manufacturing, your shipping department, your HR department, because everything's intertwined in your business. For those of you that have multiple employees, you understand that everything affects everything else. Come on. Make sure it's centrally located, as I talked about up there, up above and web-based, so that it's easier. so it's easy for people to get to. One example I give is we currently support a client that's got 3,000 prison guards in a state that'll remain unnamed, but basically 3,000 users. They have one central place to go to, and every person has their own individual user login so that they know if there's an event, there's a plan for them for where they're supposed to show up. So if there's a riot at a certain prison, they're either told to go to their prison or they're told to show up at the prison where the riot is. So those are things you need to look into. And then you want to do something that utilizes best practices, that's based on best practices. So once you've decided, on that tool, we talk a little bit more about the plan itself and the importance of the plan. So what is business continuity management planning? It's an effort, and it's an ongoing plan, and it's there to help you keep your business running. So it might be as simple as, we were talking about this morning with someone, it might be as simple as making sure that you can forward your phones without having your phone in your pocket. So that if you do leave your cell phone at home like a lot of us do, but I still have access to the internet, I can go in and forward that number to a different number where I'm going to be for that day. Simple things like that, specifically if you're a small business, you don't want to miss phone calls. You guys are in business, you know this. Someone calls you for a service and you don't answer, they go to the next person in line on Google. You've lost that business, it's lost productivity. So you want to make sure that a good plan enables you to, I'm really having trouble with the clicker, ensures a continuous performance of essential functions and operations. So during an event. So again, it could be as simple as just forwarding phones. You want to make sure that you're protecting your information, and Dan will talk a little bit more about that when he talks about protecting your database information, your customer base, your client base. You want to reduce and mitigate those disruptions up front. So a good plan will give you that ability so that if there is an event, you can very quickly react to it and get back on course again to where you want to be. It has to minimize damage. Otherwise you're out. You heard the numbers today, and depending on which survey you listen to, 25% of companies that have an event don't open their doors again. It's somewhere between 50 and 80% of companies that have an event are out of business within the first year after that. The numbers don't lie. So it is really important to make sure that you do everything that you can on your side to be able to mitigate and then react to an event. I'm really having trouble. There we go. And then most importantly, has to achieve a timely and orderly recovery, right? Because your goal is to get back into business as soon as possible, to get back working the way you were before the event happened. This kind of goes through an org chart that I put together that kind of goes through how a good plan works. So you want to have that collaboration stage. And that's where you're sending out surveys and tasks. And this goes out to everybody, not only your employees, but you want to be contacting your suppliers, right? You want to be able to contact your clients. You have customers that you're supporting. If you go to them beforehand and say, hey, look, I need to know what you need from me. If I can't deliver product for 7 days, what does that mean to your business? And what can we do to mitigate that? Those are the type of surveys that you want to put out there. You can give tasks. You can go to your HR department and say, hey, I need this information from you in case there's an epidemic. And all of a sudden, 50% of our workforce can't come in tomorrow because they're sick. So these are the types of things you want to do on the collaboration side. From there it goes to the planning. You build your plans, you put all your information together, you make sure it's correct, accurate, and up to date. And then after that, it's going to be recovery and notification after you've declared an event. And just be aware that, I deal with people and they're sitting there and we go through the whole process and then they wipe their brow, they go, oh great, my plan's done. No, it's not. It's continuous because things change. I had a situation with a banking and financial industry where I asked her, I says, how often do you test your plan? And she said, usually every 2 years. And I'm thinking, well, how much changes in 2 years? What's your turnover? What's your employee rate turnover? Okay? And so now, going back to that first slide, the person in charge is not even there anymore. How do you mitigate that? So it really is important that you do that. So the value proposition, here it is. Pretty simply put, you're going to get these three major benefits from having a good BCM value plan, and that is optimizing response times. I mean, you want to quickly and efficiently respond to an incident. Number two is reduce that downtime. If an event comes about and I can be back up and running in 2 days instead of 2 weeks, what does that mean to my business? It means a lot. Huge difference there. And then last but not least, we go through these exercises with this, and you can talk to Brian out there also, about this because he does consulting on this side. What we uncover in a business continuity plan for your business is worth the total effort, because a lot of times it allows you to find out, what is my business, what is my risk assessment? What is the business impact analysis? And by knowing that, you can be more productive and see where it is.